to do a better job.
Okay. With limited education dollars, everybody obviously would like to say, well, let's spend more on education, but a lot of times it comes down between a battle of choosing between two goods,
Right.
or prioritizing, saying, well, yes, I would like to fund both things, but maybe we need to fund this a little bit more and this a little bit less. The next group of questions I'm going to ask you is sort of where do your priorities stand? Now, obviously, I'm not saying if you say, well, I support this over this, it's not that you hate the other one. It's
Right.
just maybe you have different priorities at that time. So with limited education resources, would you spend your money on more teachers in the classroom or teacher raises?
I would go with teacher raises.
Pre-K or teacher raises? More pre-K.
Teacher raises.
Pre-K or school infrastructure?
I think school, pre-K is important, but I tend to think we've got to build up our base and where we're going to get the most bang for our bucks. And I think we need to invest in the main, the center thing, and I think teach the infrastructure.
Okay.
You know, the books, so kids can take the workbooks home and things. It's you and I took our workbooks home.
Okay.
So
Funding more pre-K or K through 12?
Pre-K's great, but I still go with the main bulk, K through 12.
Should more money go for higher education, or would you let colleges raise fees and tuition / cut spending and instead spend the money on K through 12?
That one's a tough one because they're both important to our state. You know, if we don't do a good base, it's like when I coached softball. You had to go with the fundamentals to develop good ball players. If we don't have a strong K through 12, our colleges are going to suffer because they're not going to get the good students there. And you know, and I will add some things more to this at the end, but I still think we go with our base. And if I had to choose one or the other, K through 12.
With lottery surpluses, would you support more pre-K or more scholarships?
Lottery surplus, I would say I would go with pre-K on that one.
Okay. Would you lower scholarship standards allowing in more students, or would you increase the amount of money for each scholarship with lottery funds?
Right. I would need more study on that. You know, my first instinct would say include more students to give more students the opportunity to achieve, but I would need a little bit more research and data on that.
Okay. Do you think lottery scholarships should be based on merit or financial need?
I think it needs to be, the lottery, I think, needs to be based on merit. There is a lot of financial need, scholarship money available in the community. So I think merit.
Okay. Next topic, Second Amendment issues, very important issue to Republican primary voters. Do you support allowing legally permitted handgun owners to carry in state parks?
Yes, I do. I support the Second Amendment. I really believe the problems are with, obviously, the people that do not have permit holders, and the crimes are committed by the folks that either don't know how to use guns and don't get the permits, and they're stealing the weapons to begin with. Okay. So even though I'm not a gun holder, I don't want to have one, but I support the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms in situations, yes. Okay.
Would you support handgun carry permit holders being allowed to carry in schools or universities? And I should say more just universities.
I support the right for us to do it, but I also support the right of the university to set their own rules at for their campuses, because I really do believe that too often, you know, we fuss about the federal government telling Tennessee what to do, and you know, and whether they're good or bad, sometimes the federal government sits there and tells us way too much. And sometimes I think we try as Tennessee to tell too many things down. I think we need to make things legal and then let the individual institutions make their own rule. That's what works best for their campus.
Okay. Handgun storage in public parking lots, say mall parking lots. Some malls in different areas are banning guns from their parking lots and things like that. Would you support saying that they cannot ban cars with guns inside their cars? Say somebody has a gun stored in their car. Would you? There's legislation trying to make it so that they are allowed to keep that gun in their car, no matter what the local facility says.
Well, on the first hand, I mean, I look at my business. If somebody had a gun in their glove compartment and it was concealed, it was not, I would never know it. I mean, and they may be in a position that after they leave work, they're going somewhere else that they would need it in there. So if it was kept locked up in their car and locked up in their glove compartment, and they are a legal permit holder, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, we're going to have to squeeze these down here a little bit if we can.
Okay.
Limiting reproduction of or distribution of the handgun carry permit list, so newspapers would no longer be able to reproduce those for profit. Say, like the Tennessean printed out an entire list of all handgun carry permit holders. There's a move to make it so they can't reproduce that list and put it out there.
I don't see necessarily the value of a newspaper printing it, but I think there has to be public access, just like anybody can go look up people that have license for different things through the internet and different things, that there are ways that the general public could research that because they are permit holders in the state.
Okay. There's a move for permitless carry, which is non-felons could be able to carry anywhere that is legal. They would not have to go and get a permit. Just as long as you're not a felon, you can carry. Some states already have that. There's a move to do away with the permitting system that some people feel that it is just a barrier for someone's constitutional right. Would you support that move?
No, I believe you need to have a permit because you need to exhibit that you are taking that step to make sure you're legal, and that, I don't know, guns are special, and we need the right to carry, but you've got to have a license to fish.
With the passage of SGR 127, the state would be allowed to put limits on abortion. Would you be willing to limit abortion clinics to only where they're needed, or could prove to a board that an abortion clinic is needed with a certificate of need?
Certificate of needs are good. They're used in a lot of fields. We have to use them in our field if you're going to be opening up an intermediate care facility for the disabled. So certificate of needs are general practice in government, so I would have no problem with that.
Were Roe versus Wade overturned, the power to ban abortion would come back to the states. Would you vote to ban abortion in Tennessee?
Yes.
The Constitution says judges shall be elected by the qualified voters of the state. Would you support moves to popularly elect judges instead of an appointment process with a retention election?
I lean toward voting for the judges, yes.
Would you support loser pays tort reform?
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
Would you support loser pays tort reform? That's where if you bring a suit against me and you lose, you would have to pay my legal fees.
Yes.
Do you support wine and grocery stores?
I see both sides of the issue. As a whole, the main businesses that benefit are our big businesses that are not locally owned in Tennessee, whereas most of our distributors are all locally family-owned businesses, and I do support the small businesses, but I do see both sides of that situation, and I would research that more.
Do you support liquor by the drink in tourist areas where in counties that have voted to stay dry?
I would support the county to make that choice.
So if a county said we want, if the county commission came and said we want a tourist area to allow alcohol at, say, a golf course, would you support that move over the vote of where a county has possibly voted to, say, remain a dry county?
Well, but I'm saying if the county, I think that's a county issue, that the county should be able to vote to allow, they would know their tourist areas, they would know the areas that
maybe I should be more clear.
Okay.
Do you mean the county voters, or do you mean the county commission? Because sometimes the county commission comes forward and says, we want it at this golf course, even though the people have voted to remain dry in the entire county.
I think that should be under county jurisdiction. I mean, yeah, so I'd say the county commission would be able to make that decision as elected representatives of the voters.
Okay. Do you support red light cameras?
No, I think there is a safety issue there that is good when there's proven studies that it does cut down. I think it is abused, and I think the yielding basically on red and before turning right is really the biggest abuse of this system, and there needs to be some changes. I know you all worked real hard this year to make some changes. I think a little bit more study needs to be done in it before they're capriciously used in places, but if it does prove safety, I think there are times that they're good.
Okay. On illegal immigration, how do you feel about making the driver's license test be taken in English only?
I believe in English as this is our language of our country, and I believe in most countries you learn English as well as your other language in most countries around. But if they're moving to the United States, English is our language, and I do believe in that. I would agree with that.
Okay. Do you think the state services not mandated by federal law should be only given to people who are legally in the country?
Yes.
Should adult children of illegal immigrants be given in-state tuition to state universities? That I should clarify that they are not students or not people who were born in America, but were brought over with their parents, came through our K through 12 school, or maybe 5 through 12 or whenever they got here. Should they be given in-state tuition?
The parents are illegal.
The parents are illegal.
And the children have never really been made legal either.
No, they're not legal either.
No.
Okay. Environmental issues. There is a move to put deposits on or a fee on grocery bags. Would you support that? Or there's also a move to put a deposit on cans and soda bottles and things along those lines. Do you support either a bag deposit or a bottle deposit bill?
I don't support it as far as a statewide effort at all. That's a fee. That's a tax. If a grocery store wanted to charge their own and their customers were willing to pay for it, then that's the right of the business to do that.
Okay. Do you support or would you support a ban on mountaintop mining?
Yes, we don't need to do that.
Okay, that's it. That's all the questions. You've got about 1 minute and 45 seconds to tell us a little bit about yourself, your campaign, and why you're running, and email address, whatever you want to tell people.
Okay. Basically, through my work at Sir Thomas Center, serving adults with our most vulnerable population, adults with intellectual disability, I've been elected president-elect of our statewide association of providers. The providers serve about 6,000 folks across the state. Through that work, I've worked with Senator Campfield and others down in the legislature, and have looked at budgets. I've looked at regulatory relief. I'm on a task force that looks at ways to paring down regulation, and I really believe that we do have to balance our budget at the state, but sometimes it's not the wisest use of our dollars, and if we could get more money out of our state dollars and back into the communities, we can invest them in schools where we can sit down and say, okay, what is the best way to use the money? We can invest in job growth. Less regulation means better jobs, and our businesses are going to develop here and develop in our infrastructure. So that's just a component that will develop out into my whole philosophy of local government, local investment in businesses. But I appreciate your support on September 27th in the Republican primary. Website is www.beckymassey.com, and you can reach me at 441-5228. And I appreciate your vote. I am the only one that has, only candidate that has balanced a budget, met a payroll, and developed jobs when the economy has been bad. So,
thank you. Tune us in again next week for Marilyn Roddy and Victoria DeFries.
Thank you.